I guess for the morning is Bright Demoji, and Bright Demoji is a member of Parliament for Botiano English and Manfro, and thanks for joining me. In Parliament, he belongs to, which committee do you belong to in Parliament?
I'm a Vice Chairman of the Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee of Parliament. Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs.
Wow. When did you become the Vice Chairman of the committee?
I think the last session.
The last session,
yeah.
Great. When are you resuming again?
I think it's supposed to be
around October.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes.
Your constituency has been in the news lately because of incessant armed robbery attacks. I know you were on Joy FM on Friday. You had talked lengthily about how's the situation now.
Yes. You know, before the situation, there was a lot of structure that had been put in place with regard to myself and the community trying to put up a police station. We are raising up a structure to complete it, and then so that the police can move in, not completely, but get them about 2 or 3 structures for them to get in. But temporarily, the police service has given us a temporary police tent, so the police are there 48 hours. And then we also have organized some community watchdog committees that are moving around the community. Apart from that, the road network has also been done. We are able to get the national security and some graders, and we've been able to put the road into some level of shape, and we've moved. You know, we are in a process of awarding the road. The road is being awarded to two contractors. One is starting from the junction, which is a work in progress, but where the thing normally happens, we need to divide the road, the distance. We need to separate the contract. So we even move another contractor again to start from the middle, so that we can catch up with the hinterland, where the crimes is always high at those areas. So with regard to all the issues, regard to the security officers' availability is being taken care of. The regard to the nature of the roads, that one too, I think if you look at the level now and the nature of the road now, it's easy for easy vehicular movement. So yes, it's been up and down, but for now, I think the situation is a little bit better. Better. As
far as we're concerned, do you think that the road will be put in such a state that you can have the connection to the other areas within the community?
No, not immediately.
So
because it's a very vast area. Where we've been, is the major one is what we've been able to work on. But that is not the end. We also, in collaboration, as I told you with, last time with NADMO, they've given us some tracks to be able to fill some of the potholes in there. You know, it's a developing community, and you know, this part of town where developing is not in tandem with the planning of the various assemblies. So people are building with speed, and the development is not catching up with the various communities. So,
are the developments planned? Do you have enough work?
No, that's the point I'm making. That people are building without.
Do you cognizance of what the development plan
is all about?
Does the assembly have a plan? Do they have a plan as to where they want their demarcations to be, and are they following through with the plans? Because whoever wants to build needs to get some level of permit. So
that's why you see that stop work produce permit will be on the building, and the building will be going on. So the level of supervisions of the various assemblies and the human resource base of the various assemblies are key. And you know, we are going for election today. Maybe we'll enter into those realms, and I will state my opinion clearly on the way the decentralization system is run in this country, and how we should be able to improve upon the decentralization system. That's very important, because the capacity of the various assemblies is something that we should be looking at. Once we talk about people, young men completing universities, people are doing masters, we have a lot of PhD students around, but the capacity of the various local assemblies need to be looked at.
Wow. Okay. The PhD holders, and also, they don't want to work in their assemblies?
I don't know whether it's an issue of recruitment or it's an issue of maybe there are people there already, and you know, we are also talking about the size of the civil service and all that, and with regard to expenditure and all that. So, but we need to look at it. If there's going to be some level of restructuring of the public service, especially the local government service, for us to be able to get competent and qualified people to man the various district assemblies.
Have you been an assembly member before?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have also participated in political party activity at the assembly.
Yeah, at the grassroots level.
At the you call it the grassroots
level.
The
grassroots level.
Right, very interesting. We know that as far as we're concerned, there will be a total of 18,000 and over candidates contesting the district level elections. 17,000 and over of them are males, and we have just a little over 1,100 being females. Very pale comparison as far as the male population that is taking place in this very election. 43,000 and over candidates will be contesting for unit committee elections, and so only 1/3 of these candidates really are also female. So approximately we're talking just in excess of some 1,013 or 13,000 candidates in there. That is not too good as far as the ratio is concerned. But the assembly elections are here with us. What role do you think the assemblies play in ensuring that the local government system is adequately implemented or managed at the local level?
Yes, I think I said it somewhere before, that Ghana's local government system is Kosrokobo.
Meaning what?
What it
it's
means,
Kosrokobo, so it means that we have an inverted pyramid system.
Yes.
Okay.
Where
the top is working.
The top is big.
Okay.
And the down is very small.
And you are leading that to the local government structure?
Yes.
Why?
Because majority of the activities which are supposed, you know, if you are building, local government is supposed to be pyramid, where the base is supposed to be solid and the foundation is supposed to be very strong, where the capacity or the human resource capacity should be very strong at the local level. But that is not the case as far as our local government system is concerned. All the good human resource materials are at the top level. Even the distribution of the resources, most of the activities that are happening at assembly, sometimes the directives come from the national level. And you'll be surprised that sometimes some activities take place at the district level, which some of the district assemblies are not even aware. So that coordination and collaborations from the center to the local level, complete the divulging of power from the central government to the district assemblies is a big issue. Quite apart from that, the district assemblies themselves is supposed to belong to the people. The local government system is supposed to belong to the people. So before you set up even this assembly system or you create a district, you should look at the economic viability of the district. It's one of the key criteria that you have to look at when you want to decide that you want to create a district. But we have most of the districts that are not economically viable.
So you're saying that some of the districts could have been, as they were, attached to the stronger communities and towns?
Yes.
Okay. Where economic life was more vibrant?
Yes, because you need to generate your own resources. You need to be able to go to a financial institution and say that, yes, at the end of every month, this is the amount of revenue we collect. So give us this amount of money to be doing these things and we'll be paying you. And based on your cash flow, the bank will be able to say that, yes, it is true.
As a result, you can amortize those payments over a period.
Yes.
Okay.
But our assemblies, some of the assemblies don't even collect any revenue. If you watch the revenue trend of some of the assemblies, honestly, the only reason we will say that maybe the landscape is big, so we need to, but is that alone enough for creating of a district? No. So without a common fund from the central government, assemblies don't run. And that should not be the case. Assemblies themselves must engage in economic activities, must engage in investment. Because if you go to just South Africa here, they run the same local government system, and the mayor or which is the district chief executive is the whole business. People come there, private people come to they do collaboration, PPP, and all arrangement
on their own.
Yes,
even though not divulged from central government, but also
they sign their own agreement.
Yes, but they'll let the government be in the know, but they'll take care of the finances themselves.
What known?
They only inform you, or is that not it?
No, what known?
Okay.
What known?
So, so
assuming that, let me give you an example. Assuming you have a big market, that you don't have infrastructure, and the private persons come and say that, yes, I have the money, I want to put in a lot of infrastructure in place. Now within the 10 years or 20 years,
to make it functional.
To make it functional.
So that you get
don't need to seek permission from central government. You don't need to do that. You have a sanitation system in your area. You can sign an agreement with a private developer who will maybe change the compost or the materials into something that will bring resources to the assembly.
But I remember in South Africa, I think they vote for their local people.
Yes.
Yes, but we don't vote. We appoint.
But that should not be that should not be
the norm.
That should not be
the barrier.
The barrier to develop.
Okay.
That should not be a barrier.
So you are saying that whether an assembly embarks on an income generating activity, go source for some credit or not, even if the president, who is the appointing authority, decides to change the chief executive, it doesn't matter.
No.
The assembly as an entity should continue with the project. So whoever comes should.
There should be continuity in planning. So if the assembly.
I've never heard this argument before. It's a very sane argument, if you ask me. Very salient one.
Yes, because if the assembly, because honestly,
so for example, what district do you have in your constituency?
Gansouth Municipal Assembly. Yes.
So let's say Gansouth Municipality can go and have a nice proposal and send it to, let's say, a bank.
Yes. And
say, we feel this very venture is viable. It can pay for itself within a number of years.
Yes.
And as a result of that, this also will add up to income generation in the community. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
And if they feel they cannot do it alone, they can engage a private person who will partner them to do that.
Yeah. PPP.
Yes.
Why aren't we doing it? You are an MP. Why is it that in the system we don't have it like that?
You see, I always say that the problem, the local economic development, is not involved in our assembly planning. Local economic development is not involved in our local assemblies.
How should it be?
You see, our district assembly system is looked at as if a development agency, where they only think of development infrastructure. You ask me, the assembly are supposed to generate employment. Go to all these assemblies. There are some areas where they have a very vast land. You understand me? Very vast land. Are they engaging the young men in agriculture to get some result, to increase productivity in the community? This is the responsibility of the assemblies. Local economic development. But they're not doing it. Some of the local assemblies, some of the assemblies, the district assemblies, don't even have tractor. The whole area is an agriculture-based assembly.
Okay.
But they don't have tractor.
Are you saying that the assembly needs to be having farms? Why should an assembly be owning a farm?
I am saying that local economic development.
Meaning so they have to tap the resources.
Yes, you engage the community to produce so that you can.
So you're saying it's rather the assembly who need to spearhead this?
Yes, I'm saying that the economic development and employment creation by the district assemblies is not there. So what they do is that
they only go and approve rates.
They look at the amount of money that will be coming from the common fund, then they plan what they are going to do with it.
And the rest they say
construction of toilet, maybe clinic, and all that. That is not the only job of the assembly. That's how come in the assembly we have planning officers, we have social officers, we have rural enterprise programs, a lot of programs. We have a cooperative executives, a lot of staffs who are supposed to be doing these collaborations. But they don't do it. Let me tell you, go and put up a business venture. There are some district assemblies that through government project, they put up government project. When the project is finished and the people leave, you see the project will collapse. You can go to Afram Plains and some other districts. You see a very beautiful structure in the bush. It's a project structure. Maybe they came to the country through a government agreement and they've done a project, a pilot project.
And there's a change of government?
No, not even change of government. The project is not like it's a term, maybe 4 years term, where the project will run. Within that 4 years, when the project is finished, and because it's a 4 years term, the employees and all that.
You mean the projects run by the CSO and the international charity organization?
Yes, not maybe even development partners.
Development.
So after 4 years, you see that
there's no continuity. Instead of them continuing with the project, they won't continue because they will tell you the funds have run out.
They'll be watching the structure, and the whole area will be bushy. We see a very beautiful structure in the bush. You ask, they say, "Oh, it is this project. These people came and they've come to construct it. They were working on it, and the project has come to an end, and they've left." They will be bold to tell you this. So I say, you, the district planning officer, you, the district coordinating director, all these things, you are the chief of staff.
No, but he's not the chief executive. The chief executive tends to.
I am saying that the coordinating director is the chief of staff.
Mr. Bridemoji, these responsibilities, yes, because we have the assembly, local government structure, whose responsibility should be? Foremostly, I know the one who heads the assembly is the chief executive. I
agree with you, but I'm saying that the chief executive can be changed. You understand me? But the assembly should not be looked at as a chief executive. It's an institution.
Yes, but that's not what we
headed by the chief of staff, chief executive. So yes, the ultimate responsibility should be the chief executive. That's why I'm saying that in Ghana, our problem is that we don't set up performance indicators for our appointees.
You're talking like this because you're not a deputy minister. If you were, you wouldn't be
that they should not give me. No, I work in a multinational organization for at least 7 to 8 years. And what at the beginning of every year, we said you have to sit down with your boss and you set KPIs.
Yes, key performance.
And yes, and
you have to meet them quarter
by the end
quarter.
Of every quarter.
There should be a report.
1st April, it pops up.
Report.
It pops up.
So you use what? You use the Gantt charts to.
Yes, it pops up. So if there's any variance, you have to justify. So by the end of the 3rd quarter, you know whether you deserve a bonus or not, or whether you are going to stay in the company for the next year or not. But in this country, we are not doing that. And these are things that we have a lot of people who go to school, they have done MBAs, and they know what is KPI. So why is it that when a young man is employed under you, you don't want to give him KPI? Why? Why is it that along the structure, along the chain of authority, people don't want to be responsible? Or be marked?
I see that you're pain, but one of the complaints is that because even though you're talking like this in a very spirited mood, many of you political parties tend to also to politicize the district level elections, and as a result of that, sometimes we don't get the functionality as we should get.
No, this assembly elections is a different matter.
No,
that one
it's non-political.
Yes,
but the point is that indirectly.
No, let me state this one clearly. That my difficulty with the district assembly election, especially in the urban centers, in the rural areas, is a little bit better. Because you see retired civil servants, you see retired teachers, you understand me, experienced people going to contest these assembly elections. You understand me? So when you go to the assembly, you see experienced people working at the various assemblies. I'm talking about the assemblymen and women. But when you come to the bigger cities, people don't take this assembly election serious. You listen at the end of the day, you hear the
numbers.
No, the turnout.
The numbers are turned out.
Yes. Because of that, because people don't take interest, we the so-called engineers, planners, accountants, lawyers, medical doctors, the professionals in general, they don't participate. But all our resources is supposed to be there at the assembly. And the assemblymen are supposed to be like, the assemblymen are just like the legislative arm of the assembly. They're supposed to monitor the district executive and the staff.
But if somebody's a medical doctor, he won't have time to go to assembly
meetings. How many times do they go to assembly meeting in a year?
How many times do they go?
4 times.
4 times, okay. Sometimes they go often, sometimes because there are regulations.
If there's an emergency,
yes.
An emergency. I'm not talking about contribution towards local development. It's not there. So what will happen is that we pay all the taxes. You will go you directly from...
Like today, for example, I will not go and vote.
Yes. You pay the tax.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't go and vote,
yes.
but because of where my vote is and where I work,
yes.
I can't go and vote.
So you pay your tax, and your tax is supposed to be used. You pay your property rate. It's supposed to be used to develop your area. The area is not developed. You use your car to walk through the bad road. Through the bad road. After your car, the shocks and absorbers will have a problem. You use the same money to go and buy it. Then the dust and everything will enter into your system. You will be sick and you go to hospital.
So it's just a cyclical.
So you will be suffering. You, the only person. It is your responsibility to go to the assembly and say that it's common sense to say that, okay, if a whole assembly cannot have a...
When you were not a member of parliament, were you doing these things? Were you questioning? Were you asking questions of perhaps non-development? Were you participating in activities at the local level?
But how can I become an MP in an area
without participation?
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very active in all spheres of life. And you know, I've been the longest, one of the longest serving constituent secretaries in Greater Accra. So
you've gone to the nooks and crannies of
yes.
the area. What do you think if we did better?
At any point in time when there's assembly, you know, normally, even though we say this assembly election is not political, you hear your political colleagues coming to tell you, I want to go to the assembly and all that. I ask you, do you have what it takes? What
do you mean? What does he need?
No.
Is it not a spirit of mobilization, spirit of patriotism and giving?
No, you must contribute. They have committees at the assembly. It's just like
beyond the expertise.
Expertise is key.
Yes, beyond the expertise. Because you are not saying that if I go to an assembly I can't participate adequately. I'm saying that beyond that is you need that spirit or the will to do all the things, to sacrifice.
That is the first of all.
Then you need just expertise.
Yes, to add. So that our assemblies can push the civil servants to work. Because you know the civil servants, or if they know that you don't know, they'll bully you. So we need competent assemblymen, very effective assemblymen, to be able to say that, no, this is what we planned within the year. This is even ensuring that they understand the local government act. It's key. So that they can put the planning officers, the coordinating directors on their toes to do their work. But if you go and the person knows very well that your level of understanding or appreciation of how the local government system works is not very effective, like, they will just give you a very flimsy answer and you are gone. So all that I'm trying to say is that, yes, the local government system is good, but we should be looking at community participation, especially in the area of appointment. You know, there's a 1/3 which is supposed to be from appointment from government. So I've always been urging my government and my colleagues in the higher authority that if it comes to appointment of government appointees, we should be looking at expertise. Because if you cannot get in a participatory democracy, you cannot get people who are technocrats to engage themselves in elections, then when it comes to that aspect of appointment, then we should be looking at competent people, not merely by just partisan.
Okay. Perhaps you're encouraging me to go and stand for an assembly election the next time around, but that will be in 4 years, not now. What is it, though, is that not many people are expected to be at the polls, even though we're told by the Electoral Commission that a number of communication activities or interventions have been undertaken prior to this very district-level election. And somewhere in the Upper West region, we're hearing that sections of the capital seem to be in difficulty because following a downpour, some electoral material seem to have been destroyed. We have Rafiq Salam, correspondent from WA on the line. Very good morning to you. How bad is the situation and which part of WA has been mostly affected?
And then voting is expected. It was expected to kick start at exactly 7 a.m. As I speak to you now, I can count about 3 polling stations that I have visited and which are not still operational. The reason is that last night there was a heavy downpour in WA, and then which took some of the electoral materials that were left in the open at the WA station. And so these presiding officers went this morning to pick the electoral materials, and then realized that the electoral materials were soaked by the downpour of last night. And so they came to the place, even in their attempt to try to open, flip through the pages in the register, they couldn't open because they have fears that if they try or make any attempt to open, it may tear. And so that's the situation now. The Electoral Commission has come in, spoke to some of the people who the prospective voters to at least stay a little bit so that they will drive the electoral materials for them for voting to get started. But see, today is one market day, and also some people in Wa are also performing their pilgrimage to Mecca, and so their buses are expected to leave very soon. And so they have fears that many people in the Wa municipality will not have this opportunity of voting.
So it means that once they can participate, when do they do that then? Have you been able to speak to the electoral officials, and what have they been telling you?
What I've been trying to speak to the one municipal electoral officer, Ali Osman Dauda, and then he told me his phone is switched off currently. But I tried to speak to the deputy regional electoral commissioner in that post, Ali Dauda. He told me that they went to the scene and they pleaded with the people to at least exercise some kind of a restraint so that they would dry these electoral materials. Once they are able to dry them up, voting will start in those areas. And so the worst affected areas, I could tell you, was Fala here, and then also the Wa High Court.
Well, thank you very much. Just looking at the register there reminds me of the concerns the MPP seem to have about the current state of the voters register. Rafiq Salam, thanks for joining us this morning. And we hope to get a lot more update on that very subject, where sections or one or two other or three other polling stations in the Wa metropolis won't be in a position to vote because of distraction meted out to electoral materials following a heavy downpour that was recorded just yesterday evening, or better still Monday evening. And so we'll get a latest update on that. Now, let's conclude our discussion. So ultimately, we'll need the numbers to go to the polls. Are you satisfied with perhaps the education and the communication that has been undertaken to the entire electorate or citizenry in the run-up to this very poll?
Not really, but because because of the postponement of the elections, I think they should have been a little bit creative than what we're saying. It's just the normal advert they've been doing, but they should be creative and let people know that this time round it's going to happen. Because if you postpone an election, what it means is that a lot of people will have that apathy. So you need to do more to be able to keep up the enthusiasm of the people, and I've not seen that much. It's been the normal advert they've been running concerning elections, which I think they should have done better, honestly.
You have not been convinced, so to speak, just like a number of Ghanaians also, about the publicity that has been created. Again, what has been talked about is perhaps because today has not been declared a holiday, many people may not be in a position to vote, because usually they would vote in their areas of residence, their constituencies, so to speak.
Yeah, it's also another issue that we should...
Because, for example, I'm at work, there's no way I'm going back home to go and vote.
That's another issue that we should be looking at as a country, as to whether we should add this day to the number of holidays that we have. We should be thinking about. I think we have so many holidays.
Well, I was a proponent of a holiday today. Wouldn't have been bad for me, though. Ghana.